Do you feel like you've been wronged by somebody? Perhaps did they criticize you? Or maybe you just felt misunderstood. Anyway, the feelings were not very positive and you just wanted to kind of cut that out and not deal with those feelings anymore. In a recent guided meditation, I discovered some really deep-rooted feelings I had. I hadn't realized this, but I was shutting out a very close family member because I was so hurt and I was afraid to get more hurt. The way she started the meditation was saying, isn't it natural to blame if someone wrongs us? If someone hurts us, we should not forgive. However, when we are hurt and we have scabs and we keep building those scabs, we might close ourselves out. This really resonated with me. I had a situation where a family member was going through a lot, and if you remember the pandemic, that might be really familiar with you. It was a very weird time, and this family member of mine actually caught COVID. It was really scary. They were a lot older, and this was the time when there wasn't any vaccination. So really early on in 2020, I think it was around Thanksgiving. Leading into that afterward, fortunately they are better now, but I think that situation really scared them and changed them. I think it's not surprising because trauma and life and death situations can change people. What was really kind of the cherry on top of things that pushed me over was when I adopted my dog. That really hurt me because I had mentioned to this family member that I adopted a dog. I was really happy because for a number of years I really wanted to adopt a dog, but my husband wasn't on board because of the responsibility, and at the time we were living in an apartment and our landlords did not allow pets, but we convinced them, so that was really great. I think I was expecting this family member to be really happy for me, but their reaction and their response to me really upset me. I think it made me realize that I didn't want to feel that way anymore because this person was really close to me. What they said to me was, now you won't have time to help me with things. That comment, I think, sat with me for a very long time. I think I had a lot of pent-up resentment from hearing that. It made me think about my role in this world. Like, am I here to just help people? If you don't know me, I am a giver and I will help people. I really enjoy helping others. I think that I'm building my boundaries and learning to do so. For a very long time, I just said yes to everything. It didn't make me feel good that I was celebrating this really happy time having my dog, and of course there's other things that happened. I was so hurt that their reaction was, well, you can't help me as much anymore if your time is occupied. I guess to give you some background, I am first generation born in the United States, and a lot of my family members who are older don't speak English, so they do rely on myself or other people who speak the language or read the language, which I completely understand. I think as I gotten older and accepted that, I realized it wasn't really typical. It's very interesting to be the adults in the room when I'm still a child. But anyways, I digress, and back to that story of being really hurt. In this guided meditation that I watched with Tara Brach, I'll put it in the description. It helped me unlock some of those emotions I was feeling about this person. I was really sad because I was really close to this person. I'm getting really vulnerable and I'm feeling a little teary-eyed talking about this because it was really hard for me. I think that a lot of what Tara talked about in the meditation, because she kind of talks about the habit of blame. So the title of the guided meditation is Breaking the Habit of Blame, and she kind of opens up saying, isn't it natural to blame if someone wrongs us? And if someone hurts us, we feel like we should not forgive them. And that's essentially what happened. I felt like I was wronged or misunderstood and not loved. And so I built up this resentment. I was really upset and I didn't know how to process this because after that, other things happened too. I'll give you a few examples. There was some family drama. I think lots of stuff have happened within the family and they had a lot of resentment. Rather than dealing with the situation in a healthy manner, they continuously wanted to repeat what happened and the past. And at a certain point, that was really draining on me. And so I had asked this person kindly on the phone, we were on the phone at the time, if they can just not talk about that anymore. And they didn't respect my wishes, and I just felt so hurt. At that moment, they probably talked about it like 3 times in the same conversation. You ever had a friend or family member just kind of say the same things over because they can't get over it? It was just very emotionally taxing on myself. It was just like to complain and not really having a solution. That was one example. I can't think of anything that's come to mind. I'm sure other stuff happened. It was just really exhausting for me, and I had that resentment because I just felt like I was not loved or considered. The guided meditation mentions that when things like this happen, anger does have its place in time because, those are emotions that we process, but if we don't forgive, we don't move on. It's so interesting because what I took from this guided meditation is that I had so many conflicting feelings because I really love this person, right? This is a family member who basically raised me since I was a kid. I really appreciate them because we had a really good relationship, but at the same time, they were hurting me and I was allowing them to hurt me, even though I was expressing my boundaries. Tara in the guided meditation mentions when we are hurt, we are afraid to forgive. We have a fear that if we forgive, it might happen again, or if we forgive, that we are wrong. I think that at that moment in my life, which was very recent, I didn't have the mental capacity to deal with all of this. So an easy way for me was to have no contact. While that's really hard, and I'm sure a lot of people, I know they don't talk about it, but they might not have any contact with their family members in certain situations or circumstances, that weighed heavily on my mind and my heart for a very long time. I actually listened to this guided meditation several days ago and I sobbed so hard because I didn't process and deal with those feelings because I didn't know how to until this meditation. In the back of my mind, I knew how I felt. I was really sad because, like I mentioned, if you have love for someone but you feel resentment, there's a lot of self-judgment. For me anyways, I don't know for anyone else, but I felt so guilty and I felt so hurt, resentful, unloved. That was just the fear of me getting more hurt. So I stepped away and hid myself basically from that relationship. I'm happy to say that after that meditation, I think it made me realize that I was just being human and trying to protect myself and not feel those difficult emotions because I didn't have the capacity to. But once I allowed myself to open my heart out and reach out, I felt better. I saw somewhere that they mentioned that healing is when we make connections with other people, and it's so true. I'm telling you, if there's a loved one that maybe you just don't know how to deal with, I would recommend you listening to this guided meditation because it really helped me. Something else that was mentioned in this meditation was Tara wanted to clarify that what forgiving is. Forgiving is not approving and not saying it's okay or all right. It's important to recognize when something is unhealthy. When we forgive someone, I think there might be this misconception that we are allowing things to happen, that we can be a pushover. But actually, forgiveness is not approving of it. It's just saying that we are going to allow ourselves to accept that person as they are and not judge ourselves and other people. What really stuck out to me was when she mentioned it's important we're not building scabs to cover our hearts. That happens when we're hurt and feeling resentful or misunderstood. To unlock that is to open up and to not judge ourselves, not judge other people. When we're stuck in resentment and blame, we can't see who the other person is. We see that one dimension of who they are. That's so important. We all have different dimensions of who we are. I really hope this helps you. with the new year here and holidays have just passed, it might be a really tough time for folks because we are usually seeing family during the holidays. But if you are like myself, who had a really difficult, complicated relationship with family, it's a hard time. I hope this helps. I hope you don't feel alone or abnormal if this is also what you're dealing with. I think that it's so important that we do things on our own time. I think what has made me more at peace is the fact that I can say that I don't no longer feel guilty because I would lead with my heart and no longer the fear or the blame. I think it's so easy to blame someone and say they're this or that and then stuck in that judgment, because I think that was really what's pulling me down in my heart. I was constantly judging the other person, saying they should do X, Y, Z. I should be like this. Why do I feel this way? And once I let that go, I was more at peace. There's so much more that I'm still working to improve because I'm not perfect either. Hera did mention at the very end that resonated with me, I wrote it down, is blame and resentment keeps us from love. I think that we need more love in this world. If you are like myself and celebrate the Lunar New Year, that is coming up really soon. I hope that with this new year, and if you celebrate Lunar New Year, with the new Lunar Year coming up, I hope that you have peace and you are working through things as much as you can. I hope this is helpful. Let me know if you resonate with anything I've said. If you made it this far, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to hear more. Let me know. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you soon. Thanks so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye, and have a great day.